Hello, everyone. Semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Such a treat we have for you today. I've often referred to this lady as when she's in my live streams as the smartest person in the room, and I think you're really going to enjoy this. We have Teresa. Say hello, Teresa, and just give a brief introduction.
Hi, everyone. I'm Teresa O. You will most likely find me lurking in Bob's lives when I can make it. If not, you can find me on the Dr. Barry's PhD website.
Tell us who you are and what your story is all about. I understand that you were vegan once upon a time and now you're carnivore. Tell us the entire story of how that came to be.
Okay. First, I never identified myself as a vegan. I ate a vegan diet. I was whole food plant-based, but I did it for health reasons. I didn't go into it for the vegan reasons. But yeah, I had struggled with my weight most of my life. It started probably around middle school. I had gotten at my heaviest at that time after the birth of my first child. I was 209 pounds, but I was young. So losing that weight was relatively easy. By the time I had my third child, which is almost 21 years ago, I had gotten to my absolute heaviest, and the weight did not come off after that. And I started experiencing, I guess, the first signs of health dysfunction, messed up hormones, and all that stuff. And it just continuously got worse as I got into my 30s. And I didn't know what to do. I tried every day. I tried paleo. I tried calorie restriction for calories in, calories out. They were all disastrous. Nothing worked. I tried gluten-free. I tried dairy and gluten-free. I tried everything with the exception of Weight Watchers and stuff like that, because military family, we just didn't have the money. Then I saw, I think it was What the Health on Netflix. And I was like, okay, I'm out of ideas. Let's try it. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Well, my health got even worse, if that was possible. I mean, it's supposed to be the healthiest diet on the planet for humans. My vote is no. 6 months in, I had lost maybe 10 pounds initially, which was water weight, and then nothing after that. In fact, my weight started to slowly creep up. I was on this diet for 14 months, by the way. So 6 months in, I'm not feeling much better. In fact, I'm feeling a little bit worse. So I went completely raw based on the community I was in that was dedicated to vegan diets, whole food, plant-based diets. So I didn't go into this without any research. I researched it to the best of my ability to find out how to eat right, how to get enough calories in, just basically tips and tricks to make sure I was doing the diet right. Yeah, so I went 6 months totally raw, and that's when things just got so much worse. My stomach hurt every time I put something in my mouth. It didn't matter what it was, but it was usually fruits or vegetables. I tried to avoid grains as much as I could, but I did eat some of those sometimes. I stayed away from vegan processed foods. I didn't eat what are they called? Beyond Burgers and the other fake vegan meats and stuff like that. So I stuck to whole foods, and it just spiraled. It got so bad. I had gained 40 pounds on plants, 40 more pounds. And my cycle got screwed up much worse. So my hormones weren't stabilizing, and I don't even know what it was doing to my blood sugar, but it was horrendous.
Then, after all that is said and done, you are obviously now a carnivore, or at least very, very low carb. So, tell us, how did you make the switch from a whole food plant based diet to the carnivore diet? What kinds of things did you find? And basically tell us all about that transition.
So yes, I had pretty much had it. I've had enough with the plant-based diet. It was painful every time I ate, so I started looking up videos on YouTube of issues with a whole food plant-based diet or a vegan diet, and I stumbled onto why I'm no longer vegan videos, and I literally binge watched those for 2 days. And I couldn't believe all of the people that were suffering from eating this way, and I just could relate. A lot of them had symptoms that I had and were experiencing the same things, and I just couldn't believe it. And after 2 days, over on the sidebar on YouTube, when you're watching a video, other suggestions pop up. And there was a video about Dr. Berry. It was something about carnivore, and I was like, carnivore? Well, I love meat. So yeah, let's take a chance. Let's click on that. And so it was a video about Dr. Berry and the carnivore diet. And by the end of it, I just looked at my daughter and I said, you want to do something crazy? And she's all like, sure, what? And I was like, let's go carnivore. And she was on board 100%. My husband's a truck driver, so he was out at that time, but I had texted him and said, hey, we're going to go carnivore, stop eating plants. And he's all like, okay. So really no convincing him to switch over. He just jumped right in it too. I know some people say that you shouldn't jump right in to carnivore to go from one extreme to the other. You can really mess yourself up. I found the opposite to be true. I was at a point in the plant-based diet where everything I ate hurt and I could not eat it anymore. And when you have that kind of dread, you really have no choice but to jump right in. So yeah, I dove in head first, went completely carnivore, and I have no regrets at all.
So, you jumped straight into carnivore. How quickly did you notice improvements? What types of things improved? Tell us all about the improvements, what was going wrong on vegan and what it fixed when you switched to carnivore.
That's a pretty big question. Okay, what I noticed first immediately, day 2, my stomach did not hurt at all when I ate. I ate only meat. That was big for me, because if on the plant diet I would eat within 2 to 5 minutes, the stomach cramping would start and it would just be miserable. But day 2 of going carnivore, none of that. It was amazing, and I was no longer scared to eat. And we shouldn't be scared to eat. That's how we live. Within about 2 weeks, I started noticing more energy. And on the plant diet, I had no energy. I would sleep 7.5 to 8 hours every night, be tired all day long, and still have to nap 1 to 2 hours. And I would still have that, kind of tired, dragging feeling all day long, regardless of whether I napped or slept good. But with carnivore, it was different. I was popping out of bed earlier with only maybe 6.5 hours of sleep, and I had energy. I didn't need to nap. And that was, again, crazy to me because that wasn't my normal. I didn't know that was okay. And during one of the lives with Dr. Barry, I even asked him that question. I'm sleeping less every night, but I have more energy. Is that normal? His answer was, it's your new normal. So if you're not tired, if you're not lagging, then that's all you need. As far as the other things that improved, my list was long. Let's see. I kept a journal. I think everybody should keep a journal. I had dry scalp, dry skin. I was itchy all the time. I had dermatitis on my legs, constantly bloated, constantly having gas, intestinal cramping, constipation, diarrhea, heartburn, acid reflux, daily headaches every day. I lived on Motrin. About 6 months into the plant-based diet, I developed all over chronic pain. I was always in pain. And when I woke up in the morning, I was stiff and kind of hunched over for 2 hours. It took 2 hours to loosen up and to be normal. So I would literally shuffle around like this in the morning and then just sit down because it hurt too much to walk. I had sinus congestion, post-nasal drip. My ears popped when I swallowed. My ears itched like crazy. I had thick skin on my feet. My toenails were, they started getting a little thick. I had no libido, horrible sugar cravings. I couldn't lose weight for anything. In fact, all I could do was gain weight. Fatigue, poor sleep, fibromyalgia. And then here is where I developed even more wonderful stuff. This is plant-based diet. So I started getting, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's the same thing that Kelly Hogan suffered from. She would get boils. Those started to reoccur on a constant basis. And I was just like, what is this? What is going on? Gotten a job at one point because my kids are grown, so I was kind of bored of being at home. So I got a job in this small boutique. And after 3 months, I had to quit because I developed stress fractures in the arches of my feet. And I now understand why it happened because I worked on my feet and I was 266 pounds and I'm 5'4", so I believe that's morbidly obese. And the sheer amount of weight that I was putting on my feet was just, it was too much. So I had to quit. And shortly after that, I started getting plantar fasciitis on a regular basis. I didn't know what that was either, but it was very painful to walk and I could feel the bump in there. And it would last like 2 weeks and it would reoccur about every 6 weeks. So I bought one of those little knee scooters that I prop my leg up on and be able to scoot around because I just couldn't sit all day. But yeah, all of that, everything started going away. And I think it was about 2 months that I started noticing changes in my skin. I had seborrheic dermatitis. So I had a lot of flakes in my hair. My forehead flaked for no apparent reason whatsoever. A lot of Google searching, and I finally found it was seborrheic dermatitis. And it was horrible because I would have to sit there and, scrape all of the flaking off of my head before I left the house because it was so embarrassing to go to the store like that or anywhere else that I don't know. It was just bad. But that started getting better. Every month, my cycle got better. It was really heavy and really painful, and I couldn't even leave the house for the first 2 days that I was on it. And every month it just got better and better. And 10 months into carnivore is when it got completely normal. And I just remember thinking, wow, I don't think I've ever had a cycle this nice, even as a teenager. So that was huge. And the biggest one is that the fat was coming off effortlessly. And you don't have to count calories and you don't have to do any of that stuff. I just kept eating meat and fat. And the fat was coming off.
Just a really quick one here. From the time you ended the vegan diet to today, how much weight have you lost?
I think that I have lost 115 pounds so far. I would have to I keep it in my carb manager, keep track of it that way. I don't look at it very often, but I was 1 pound less this morning. So I need to remember to enter that.
Fantastic. So let's switch gears just a little bit here because you are a moderator now in Dr. Barry's private group. How did that come to be and what's that like?
It's amazing. I'm really enjoying it. It came to be that I had so much benefits from following Dr. Barry's advice. And I followed him to the T. I did everything that he said. And because of that and all of the healing that I did, and I was just blown away. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Everybody needs to know this. And you can't just go up into the supermarket and grab random strangers and say, hey, put that garbage away and fill your cart with meat. I mean, maybe you get locked up for stuff like that. So I thought I'll just help whoever I can in his community. And I started answering people's questions. I started telling them what worked for me. And then I did a Zoom. We do Zooms once a week in the private community where you can ask your question directly to Dr. Barry. And I said, Dr. Barry, this is the first time that I have attended a Zoom, and I have no question for you. In fact, I don't have any ailments anymore. And there really is no reason for me to be here, except that I want to help you spread the word of the proper human diet. And so I told him basically that I was going to stay. Shortly after that, it was Kevin and Paola who approached me, and they offered it to me, and I jumped on it because it's like, yes, I want to help as many people as I can be healthy, be happy, and finally live, because I am a complete 180 from where I started.
Okay, and if somebody was thinking about starting this diet, way of eating, way of life, and they're still not sure, what's the one piece of advice you would give to somebody in that situation?
It would be, what are you waiting for? How much longer are you going to put yourself through the suffering before you decide to just jump in? Just do it. You try it for 30 days. If you don't feel better after 30 days, you really haven't lost anything. But sitting there thinking about it and wondering if you're going to feel better doing what you're currently doing, it's not going to happen. You have to be a little brave, jump in, try it for 30 days.
Okay, now we have come to the point in the interview where I say the floor is yours. You are standing rather than sitting, but you are standing in front of my audience. Take as much time as you'd like. Tell my audience anything that I've forgotten to ask you or anything you would like them to know about who Teresa O is and your experience.
Who is Teresa O? I'll tell you that I'm learning who Teresa O is now. I symbolically killed off the old me because my frame of mind, my thinking, all the stuff that has been ingrained in me about diet and everything was wrong. So I had to kill the old me off and create a new me. I'm still figuring out who that is, but I can tell you that I'm a much better version simply because I'm actually living now. On the end of my plant diet, I had resolved that this was my life. This was as good as it was going to get, and there was nothing I could do to change it, and that I would eventually be stuck on medications for chronic pain, prediabetes, which would probably go into type 2 diabetes. I didn't leave the house much. I didn't do things that I enjoyed. I was in a really sad state. 4 months into carnivore, we decided to get chickens. I had never had chickens, obviously, and couldn't even imagine doing that as a plant eater. But 4 months into carnivore, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do something new. So we got chickens. I currently have 22 now, and they keep up with my egg habit. And I love my little ladies. But I never would have been able to do that on the plant diet. And so that's part of the new me. I go out and do things. I don't say no to things. Like when my friends call and say, hey, let's meet up for whatever, nine times out of 10, my answer when I was a plant eater was no. And it was because I didn't have the energy. I didn't feel good. I had a headache. Everything was saying no, don't even bother leaving the house. Just had no desire. And now when my friends call, it's like, okay, I can meet you right now. Let's go. So that's cool too. And I can help my kids move. They're grown and they've been doing moves into their own apartments together, and then they're separated now. But that's a different story. But I would never be able to help them. It would 100% be my husband doing it, and I would sit at home and watch the animals, let the dogs in and out all day long. And that was my activity. That was the extent of my life. Binge watching Netflix and letting the dogs out to go pee. It was horrible. But yeah, I'm up for anything now. It's been great.
Thanks for being here today, Teresa. Before I let you go ahead and tell us where we can find you on social media. I know you just started a YouTube channel. Tell us how to find that, and if you have other social media you'd like us to know about.
Yeah, I just started my YouTube. I had been thinking about it for a long time, but I'm a very private person. So when I was going to start it in June, it has taken me that many months to, yeah, I just started a YouTube, and it was hard for me because I'm a very private person, and I do have public display options. I don't like doing public speaking or anything like that, but I think the message is important. I think that going keto, ketovore, carnivore is really important. I think we've been cheated and lied to, and that message needs to get out too. So you can find me on YouTube at, I believe my name is Teresa O. I'm also on Instagram. I'm not great with it. I do try to post every week. But I'm pretty busy in the PhD community, and I don't have a whole lot of time. But that's where you can find me most of the time, is in Dr. Barry's private community. I help people get started in this way of eating. I help them figure out why they're stalling, why they're not just feeling optimal, and try to really help them optimize their diet and get to feeling better.
Okay, well, thanks for being here today, Teresa. Everybody, don't forget, go down in the comments and thank Teresa for her time, because everybody's time is valuable. Don't forget, folks, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you in the next one.